everybody. Well, welcome a couple people to our Every Second Matters chat. Thanks for letting me know the volume's working. I guess it'll be a shorter show today. Nature of the awareness campaign, I guess. There's no rules, so I guess no one was expecting a show to happen on the 2nd. But we got links out there to 42 something people, and we'll chat a bit about Every Second Matters, where it came from, and then chat a bit about the Gun Rights Policy Conference coming up in September and the AmCon associated with it. And if no one's in here, then we'll let that be a statement into itself on our Second Amendment. So it is Every Second Matters. That's the 2nd of the month. This is an awareness campaign that was created by people who were chatting in a community created on the YouTube platform in the 2013 specifically. And after Obama's initial threat of executive actions, there was quite a bit of a swell in grassroots activism and a unified no to that concept of not just gun control, but the way that it was being attempted. And there was satisfying, and it was enthusiastic, I guess, and encouraging to be part of the country at that time. So when the year went on and there was that resistance and he backed down and didn't pursue it as boldly, the apathy started. And as a group, there's was a bunch of active people, maybe a dozen or so, maybe a couple of dozen even, maybe more. Just like now, there's a few dozen people who show up to every live show. Then there's a couple of dozen that are here and there. And then there are a couple of dozen beyond that that'll show up just intermittently, occasionally come back from whatever situations and be around for the conversation. And then there's the untold number who witness and observe the conversation, perhaps are influenced by it or not, but are aware of the conversation nonetheless. And then there's the imprint that it has, and that's what we were aware of, and we wanted to do something that wasn't a regime, some sort of rules or obligations, and we decided to have an awareness campaign. Maybe it lasted 6 years, maybe it didn't. There's no way to know, but we've definitely had lulls in, I don't know, whatever, not just awareness of this campaign, but participation, I guess, in the campaign. And yeah, take it for what it is. So we'll continue to do these as chats. I'm distracted here trying to keep track of what else happened and the new Hangout thing. But again, this is an awareness campaign, so we came up with it at the end of 2013. We saw that there was a potential for apathy, just ending any amount of unity or any amount of concerted effort towards awareness about our Second Amendment. So a couple of dozen of us decided to do something about that, and throughout the years, it's now been 6 years, some people have continued to do it on a regular basis. Others, again, have done it in different levels of frequency. And right now we're in a downturn, I guess. It's frustrating because we do have the 2020 elections coming up, but maybe it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. We'll have more election cycles. Our country has lasted, our system has lasted through more than just a generation of people who are content to observe and do nothing. So we'll survive this, and we'll keep going. So with that, we do have the Gun Rights Policy Conference coming up in September. If you're listening to this, you're probably well aware, but just in case, I'll throw it out there again. It's the group of gun owners' rights organizations that come together each year to talk about what's going on, what they need, and let's just block you from the channel. How about that? Alright, so Gun Rights Policy Conference is the gun owners' rights organizations get together and they it's a conference. They take the stage, they talk about what's going on, what they have done, what they need. If you want to support those organizations, one way to do it is to be in that room in Phoenix in September. But there's no obligation. You could phone it in. You can observe. There's probably going to be cameras there. Somebody will show up with a camera. Got the Gun Rights Policy Conference, and then the day before is AmCon. AmCon, Second Amendment Media, getting together, working as a team. Once a year they get together and encourage that. And I guess we'll leave this running for a bit. It's been 10 minutes. See if anybody's gonna jump in. Otherwise, this will be a frustrating month for Every Second Matters as far as this get together. Well, all I can do is open a room and send out links. So I'll probably play a podcast here for a little bit. Let's go see if Gun Freedom Radio has anything new. Actually, did that new one on Gun Streamer the other day. Let's see. Interview series Larry Zoldoff originally aired. Yeah, let's send it over. Copy. So you didn't miss anything. Nobody's joined in, so we've just been killing time talking about the program, the awareness campaign, letting people know about gun rights policy again coming up in a couple weeks here. Let's go check out Private Shotgun with Charlie. Well, thanks, Zero. Nobody's required to do nothing. It's just frustrating to watch the numbers grow and silence. But heck, that's what awareness is, right? Quietly watching and observing as things fail and wither away. So I'm looking at the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel here, scrolling through some of his videos. Let's go with Rob Morse. Listened to this one before, but Rob is the Light Society podcast guy. And we'll let this run for a little bit in case anybody jumps in.
practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me Rob Morris. Rob, thank you for being on.
It's a pleasure. We've been working at it for a couple of years.
For a while. I was really hoping to interview in Indiana, but it hasn't happened. We're still on it. We're both on our
We met up in the nearest compromise, which is Florida.
Florida, right?
Midway between Massachusetts and Wisconsin.
Between here and nowhere. So, Rob probably recognized his voice from the legislative podcast.
By the way, $10 well spent to get advertising like that on Charlie.
Right, totally. You might also recognize his voice from the self-defense gun stories. You won't recognize his writing, because we're talking writing like W-R-I-T-I-N-G. But you also write for the Slow Facts. And what's the phrase for Slow Facts?
American opinions come and go. Here's the slow facts. I mean, even before Twitter, the internet was full of emotional opinion.
Yes.
And I just wanted to go, is that true?
It can't. It can't be. I know it's on the internet. It can't be true.
Right. Dave Lincoln said, don't believe everything you read on that.
Did you see this? Totally not unrelated. I saw this recently. Colonel Sanders, right? He follows 11 people on Twitter. Did you see this? Colonel Sanders follows 11 people on Twitter. 5 of the Spice Girls and 6 guys named Herb. 11 Herbs of Spice?
My God.
The person that figured this out, they actually, someone made a picture of Colonel Sanders carrying this guy on his back. I swear to God, carrying the guy that figured it out.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Totally. I like it. All right. Totally unrelated, but that's, I noticed. That's quite all right. All right, so tell us about yourself. You've been to a lot of places. You've done a lot of writing. You do a lot of podcasting. You've done a lot of training. You've taken a lot of training. You're an instructor?
Yes.
You are. Okay.
Although I don't do commercial. I don't need to have students.
Gotcha.
On the other hand, but I went and got the NRA credential because I wanted to make sure that, take me out. Glad to. But I want to use the same verbiage. Not just how I've been taught, right, but that they will hear when they go get their student.
Very cool. That's a cool.
If you will, I'm a dedicated substitute teacher.
I think if you're not, like you said, commercially gun instructor, it gives you more credibility when you're talking to people and when you're, writing stuff and doing things. So that's very cool.
I competed in an IPA for a solid good 3+ years when I was in California. That was just the gun handling familiarity, right? Because every week you're moving and shooting with a gun. So, in fact, you would think that California, they don't like guns. Right. There's a San Diego area, North County, huge gun community. You could go compete 6 times a week. 6 times a week.
Wow.
Easy.
That's so easy to take down California. And San Diego, even worse. Here's some speed strips. All right, so we are here we're in Dunellen, Florida. We're here for a Florida Carry event. You and I are both going to be speakers. And Kevin Sona, we have to do a shout out to Kevin Sona. Kevin, let's hear it for Kevin Sona and Florida Carry. They are the ones that got us together here so we can do this. And Kevin said we have to, I guess there's a road, I don't know if it's the road we were just on, but they filmed
Jeepers Creepers.
Yes. I
You would be buzzed.
Right. But it is what it is, man. So maybe we'll see something. I don't even do 16 movie.
No.
So that's all right.
All right,
Tell us about you, Rob. Tell us about how did you get into how did you get into gun stuff?
Yeah.
In some sense, the same way
everybody does. My grandfather had a college camp. Drop your station. Great. Oh, you were in Boy Scout camp. First 22, right? Sure. So now you're 13. You're an adult working in a company, and a guy goes, "You're on the team." Great.
What
You
team?
have to stay late, right? I'd done a bid and proposal team with him the week before. So after work, I show up. Give me the bid and proposal package. I'll take it home tonight. We'll be a company. He goes, "What are you talking about?" I goes, "I'm on the team." He goes, "Yeah, you are." And I've got 5 feet of stupid look, and he goes, "I signed you up for the company business team." And I go, "The company house?" He goes, "We're the first. We're it. It doesn't know. Me and three other guys that come in there. I go, "What?" Well, where we were located, the range we used is owned by the Lyman family. Lyman of Orange Crush. John Lyman was a former Olympic small bore pistol coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's gotta be a nice range.
That wasn't the Olympic range.
Okay.
That was a family range.
Just
making firearms equipment.
Right.
But just tons of human capital, like do it like this, not like that. So my introduction to small bore pistol shooting was a high standard of 7.5 inch.
Oh my barrel. Like one-handed, one on the wrist,
Oh yeah.
or hand on the hip. Right.
But on the other hand, if you can't hit a quarter over and over, stop pressing, because that's the name of the game. It's 75 feet. So
Wow.
which then kids came, guns all the way. My wife gets frustrated. That target pistol was about the least used self-defense tool you can imagine.
Right?
Right. Maybe a 2-pound sugar, maybe less.
Right.
Certainly not drop safe. But a friend of a friend was the chaplain for the police department in San Diego and the county sheriff. The chaplain is also a former SWAT cop. So he can whisper, and the cops go, "Hey, you got some fresh shit in there."
Right.
And he says, "Rob, you should get a gun to protect your family." And I'm like, "Yeah, the great theory, what do I do now?"
Right.
And he goes, I'm taking some guys from church off for some firearms instruction. He didn't lead it. He dragged people off the front side. Which is just bulk training. They put 20,000 people through that site.
Right.
But that was my... Doesn't every church do that? So
No. No.
Okay.
Not every church. This is why you should go to church. Maybe to find that church.
They're asking you to California.
Okay, well, okay. It's a long way to go.
Yeah, this is a long way from Massachusetts.
It's a long way.
So, my experience has been that the firearms community is that welcome.
Absolutely.
And you know that if you walk up to a competition and you can fog a mirror, you look attentive, we're waiting for the light. They will go, "Do you want to shoot?" And you go out your big gear, and they go,
That doesn't matter.
"Okay, we can cop it." Right?
Right. Somebody's got a gun in extra hand.
And you're in.
Yeah.
Okay, just here. Attach yourself to his belt buckle and see what it's like. Because
That's cool. That's way cool.
It really is.
I tell women that take the gun class with me that if they want to, my dating advice is what I call it. My dating advice is for a woman to get her gun license. Buy a gun, go to shooting range. Every guy that shoots needs to pass the background checks.
That's right.
And I said, yeah, and a great way to strike up a conversation with a stranger at the shooting range is to be like, instead of just going over and saying, "Hey, you want to shoot your gun?" you say, "Hey, listen, I saw one of those in a magazine. Where did you get that? What do you think of this?" And it's totally an icebreaker to get yourself a new friend, which will eventually tell you how much they paid, how much it cost, what they like, what they don't like, and the reviews they read. And then they'll hand it to you and say, "You want to try it?"
On their ammo.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's not as good as free drinks, but it's all.
See, sometimes you gotta take them out for a drink. Right. But that's okay. That's all right. So that's how you got into it, and you've been with the church. The church didn't take care of something.
Okay.
The work people.
The work people. So right. I ran into firearms at work,
and then
through a religious affiliation.
Gotcha.
Only when I moved to Louisiana years later, 3 years ago, was I able to finally open carry and concealed carry because you can't not in California.
Right.
So, and the way I explained it is, we just ran east from California. It drove us out. Texas, between me and the West Coast. That's what they'll say.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But a few years before I'd done that, the Second Amendment Foundation puts on the gun rights policy conference.
Right.
I went to Orlando. The first time, well, what, 6-7 years ago.
So you were still in California?
Yes, Southern California. And the gun people are reasonable, they're fascinating, just knowledgeable, amazing. And I meet this guy, Paul Lathrop. And I'm just writing little things about on my Little Nothing blog, but I'd already been through the experience of trying to climb the steps to gun ownership and finding that step was missing in the ladder. In California, it was just kind of a, you won't forget that experience. And California was going through a particular moment of gun craziness, and Paul goes, Rob, would you like to come on the Point Society podcast? Then it was called Politics and Guns.
Right.
And talk about California crazy. Oh, great. So I just written about it in my blog, Slow Facts. And we did that a couple times. And then he goes, you want to be on a regular basis? Every time California's crazy? He goes, no, Tuesday. Oh, like that?
Like, okay, every week regular. Really?
Yeah. So that worked out.
That's cool. Did you do the slow facts? Is it all gun stuff?
No.
It's not all gun stuff. You said you were doing this for places.
Yep.
How long have you been doing that?
Ooh, 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Okay. How did that start off?
You know, I think one of the
besides an AA link thing. But like, you have to have something that says, hey, I want to. I have some writing skills. I want to start to write a blog.
I found out that I could write. Got interested in science fiction. Had written a couple web articles on science fiction, and it was actually writing about the virtue of self-defense. I think it was one of my first articles.
Really?
I think it was called 10 to 1 on Slow Facts.
Wow.
And I'm an engineer by training, and I get to bring that background, not just the calculating background, but the perspective on technology.
Okay.
I've worked on nuclear projects, I've worked on satellites that are never coming back. The last thing I was working on was phased array radar for defense contractors. Now I'm working on some oil field equipment.
Wow.
So, but there's this Fukushima Daiichi after the earthquake in Japan. And he went, okay, the world's going to end. Well, Godzilla climbing out of the Sea of Japan because of the radio. No, stop.
That's a little crazy talk.
Right. It's separating facts from the walking deal. Separating facts from the walking deal. That's awesome. What? As you know, you're going to meet people here, and those will form context.
Alright, well, according to this, my stream is bad. So, I don't get good streaming, and I'm trying to do stuff because nobody's in here, and I've got a room open for no reason. I've had it open now for about 45 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Nobody's jumping in, so I guess this is a busy night for everybody. I do want to thank everybody for joining us live. The goal here is to keep awareness of our Second Amendment, chat about what kind of things people are doing, and to provide a place, a channel for communication. And again, all we can do is create the room and send out the links. So thanks. Don't get discouraged. We'll be back next month. It's about 53 days out till that gun rights policy conference, and then we got the election cycle of 2020. The old people are going to be dying. Oh, here's Ghost. Just talking about old people. Ghost shows up. Is it Ghost or is it a ghost of Ghost?
Hey, what's up?
Hey. I was just about to shut it down, but if you're jumping in, I'll keep it.
Oh, I can get off if you need to.
No, the idea was to send out links to 40-something people. You're the first person that jumped in 45 minutes.
Oh, man, I just got home, so sorry.
Right, no worries. Thanks for jumping in. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, we chat normally about, Second Amendment and what's going on. So, with that in mind, anything happening Second Amendment-wise for you?
That's every second minute, yeah. I'm sorry, it's been a long couple of days, especially.
Yeah, I hear you. Throwing you on the spot, too. So, we don't have to, there's no obligation here. The idea is to have this monthly. We've been doing it for 6 years. So I don't get discouraged when nobody shows up for 1 month. This is a project that's now 6 years old, but this country is a hell of a lot older than that. People with resolve and gumption have been doing shit a hell of a lot longer than any 6 year stint. Shit, I own socks that are older than 6 years old, right? So this is 6 years, this is 1 month, and yeah, we got an election cycle coming up. I guess I was just saying, one of the things that I think is interesting about this election cycle of 2020 is, I haven't done the numbers recently, but when we were checking them out, we've got, what do you call them, generations of population, and the old people are dying off. They're not going to be here. They're less and less influential in our voting and in our political, whatever that's called, decision making. And the generation who was born in 2000, guess what year it is? It's 2019. So guess what this is? This is the first year they're going to have an opportunity to vote in a national election. So we've got great seats to watch that happen if you don't want to be influential at all to a generation that literally gets all their information from phones. If you're not interested in being part of the dissemination of valid information, but instead want to depend on the established traditional sources to disseminate that, you've got the best seats in the house to watch that fucking fire. Getting all riled up, but anyway, like I say, I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think we're certainly going to withstand whatever happens in the next election cycle, but it's frustrating to see the generation that came from the generation that did shit just give up to the generation that's about to come, and we don't know. That's an unknown, right? I don't know the new generation. I only know a couple of kids. I'm optimistic, because I'm optimistic by nature, but yeah, that's a heck of a gamble. But I don't know, maybe I'm getting pessimistic because nobody showed up tonight and nobody gives a shit about second.
Well, I think it's interesting because I have a 22-year-old daughter, and ironically, she was able to vote, obviously, in the 2016 election, but chose not to. And typically, I would sit there and be, that's not, you're not exercising your right, but you're not taking your responsibility seriously. But I asked her, I said, hey, it's none of my business if you don't talk about it. It's your decision, but why didn't you decide to vote? And she said, I don't understand enough now to make a logical decision, and I'm not going to vote just because you or my friends or other people say vote for this person. Just I didn't take the time to educate myself and what was going on, so my vote was going to be a vote of ignorance, and she didn't want to do that. So I kind of respected that. Unfortunately, we don't have any. They're going to vote from who they hear from their professors or their parents or whoever influences these kids. And unfortunately, most of these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, when the election time comes, are going to be going to college. And I think that that's where a lot of this is happening, is you're getting college professors that take themselves too seriously and try to pass on their opinions as fact. And they require their own books to be read as required. So these kids are leaving college with, at best, a skewed version of reality.
Yeah, I hear you. I like to think that that's I mean, that can definitely be happening, but I hope that that's not our only.
I hope so too.
Right.
I really hope so too. Yeah. There are a lot of kids, and I call them kids because they are kids. You know, my daughter's of that age group and all of that, and I see she's in that kind of that transition to where she is still young enough to where she doesn't have a lot of life experiences yet, but she's old enough to know that the stuff that she thought when she was 18 or 19 wasn't necessarily of the best information. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping, you know, I think we all were. We were 22 years old. I mean, I know where I was when I was 22, and I know what I was thinking when I was 22 is obviously much different, you know, when I'm 44. So I think we all go through that, I think, to some extent.
But she's not, or this generation that we're talking about ain't 22. They're 19. They're 18.
Well, that's true. She was born in 97, so she's a few years before that, yeah.
Without getting too crazy, too pessimistic or whatever, I guess. Think about what you were like when you were 19 and what you're going to vote for. Could be an interesting election cycle for sure. But heck, there's no
It's
reason
definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's
there's no
definitely
reason to
going to
get
be interesting.
There's no reason to get kids on board. So anyway, I've just been working on a project. I just closed it down because it kept yelling at me that my whatever performance processor blah 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 usage was killing the feed. So going back to look at YouTube, I've got everything shut down except for the YouTube chat, the like I said, close that window, 3 windows, and the streaming XSplit software itself, and I still got a bad stream, and I think it's due to the XSplit software wants to use my graphics card. I don't have a graphics card, so it's killing my CPU, my RAM, I guess, and because of that, I can't do nothing. I have to have a room open to have a hangout. I have to have a room open to see the comments, and I have to have the XSplit open. So that's the things I have to have open, and even with that, I've got bad performance. So it looks like.
Are you utilizing your GPU as well, or just your CPU?
I don't have a GPU, is what I'm saying. My GPU
I
or whatever
gotcha.
is so
Okay.
like old or whatever that it doesn't even register as one or something.
I gotcha.
Look at
Okay.
this, look at that, and I'm also just getting used to, what would you call this? Like directing the stream over on the new software. It's one thing when we're used to it being in a browser window. With YouTube and everything, with Hangouts, it was just a browser window, so you could orchestrate, I don't know what to call that, conduct, I don't know what you call it when you decide which screens are going to show up, and if you're presenting and that kind of crap, like how to, I don't know what that's called, but with the new systems like the StreamYard.
More like almost like a producer, almost.
I think that's production, right? It would be like the little room in the TV station where all the little televisions are, and the one guy's deciding which shows go into the live feed and which ones are just on standby or whatever. It's sort of like that. So I'm getting used to that, and like I say, my computer can't deal with it alone, let alone anything else on the computer at the same time. So that's probably going to kill my live-in for a while. But I don't know how bad it is out here. We'll have to get feedback from people that are actually listening, because it does say bad that I should stop my stream because it's so bad that it's losing whatever.
Well, if you utilize StreamYard, I'm not saying that's the answer, but that is browser-based also. That might help you a little bit.
Yeah, but the problem is I bought XSplit like an idiot, so I already paid $40 for XSplit
Oh,
for a year.
I
So
gotcha.
I feel like
Yeah.
I should try to use it. Now I might just gift it to somebody if I can do that can use it, because I'm not getting a new computer anytime soon. So yeah, the StreamYard without paying for it is free, and you just have to deal with not being able to, what do they call it, brand it.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
paying the $24 a month for it. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe live isn't the future. Maybe live should go the way it is.
Yeah, I was
Second
talking with
one,
Clover
whatever it is.
earlier today. We were discussing this exact thing. He asked me what are my plans, and I said, well, for right now, I plan on utilizing StreamYard to just deal with the duck. I get it's what it is, but my thing with StreamYard is now that this is happening, the more and more people that go to StreamYard, what's going to happen in a month or two when StreamYard says, well, we could really capitalize on this if we wanted to. So StreamYard might look drastically different a month from now. I don't know.
Well, it will look drastically different as it's growing. It's only 3 dudes from Canada that run it right now, and they're in contact with people. It's already evolved since it started. I mean, there's unknown with everything, but you have to do something. You can't wait for things to be established, otherwise you're behind the curve. So you got to try things out, I suppose. I think the duck is probably going to be the best option going forward. But the good news is that when Idiot YouTube ripped the live part away from the Hangout part and effectively made us all use a stream key, they've enabled everyone with a lot more knowledge. And when we have the keys, the stream keys, when we literally have the keys to decide where we're going to stream our info to, we're no longer restricted to a single platform, and we're certainly not restricted to YouTube. So there is definitely going to be a loss for YouTube once those gaming platforms figure out ways to attract the youngins in better ways than YouTube ever could. And that might have been part of YouTube's decision, who knows, because it is expensive. But this shift in distribution of content will, I think, be better for everyone. I think we were getting very weak, being addicted to the platforms, and the constant whining and complaining from many people about what they believe was deserved, or what we are entitled to because we want to use it or we're accustomed to using it. We're going to be better. See, Ashley's out there. They all have links, but yeah, it'd be great when they are able to take the stream keys, and then we can stream to platforms that we value, and then have our stuff recorded and archived on platforms that are specific. I don't think that's a detriment, though. I think it was a detriment trying to jam everything into the shelves of Walmart. It's definitely effective to get it out to a lot of people to shove it on the shelves of Walmart, but you never have authentic Chinese soup. You never have authentic, anything. Nothing in Walmart is true. It's just a very inexpensively mass-produced version of whatever was authentic that gave it the spark. So we're going to get back to that artisan craftsmanship type content creation, which will give people a renewed thirst for it. I think people who think about how many people have joined the game since 2013 and don't know what it's like to see amateurs online. They've only seen polished professionals. The internet and YouTube have only been little versions of television shows. They only know the old-fashioned paradigm of being programmed with information just through this new media. They don't remember what it's like when it was a bunch of just hobbyists playing, and the excitement there was when those hobbyists were able to help stand up to defy president with an appeal. What's the word? What's the word? Sympathetic Congress, who was interested in going after guns based on media hype, and a budding community was not only aware and like showing, being observing and reporting on that, but we're also influencing it. And there's people who have joined since then that just see the shiny plastic Barbie doll shell of what the community used to be, and that's where Every Second Matters comes from, and that's the concept of keeping this going now. Heck, I don't know if anybody watched Liberty Doll's show earlier, but they're giving her gruff for being a boomer or whatever. I guess that's another, if you're not a gun person, a way of saying FUD, make fun of the elderly or whatever, and the old ways of doing things. And yeah, tradition and faith are no longer appealing and no longer promoted, so we'll see a loss of a lot of interesting things that were established and whatever. But the Second Amendment's going to be one of them. It'll be over my fucking dead body, and we'll continue to do these broadcasts. I don't care if me and Ghost are the only one showing up. Thanks for showing up, Ghost. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, happy Every Second Matters, and sorry I was late, buddy.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks again for showing up. I have no interest in just blabbing here for nothing, so nobody's really saying too much on the external chats. We got 18 thumbs, 10 people sticking around right now. Thanks for making the decision to at least pay attention to what's going on with it. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Nobody's gonna fucking do this for us. We either get up and do it when it's uncomfortable or boring, or not. We don't have to. There's no obligation at all. You gotta figure out how to shut all this down. I guess I have to go back to YouTube and then click this. Yeah. I don't like this. There's like too many windows to deal with.
Yeah.